Hi everyone, I'm currently sitting in a very beautiful part of Feather's Tail, but perhaps a part with many memories that we would prefer not to have, but at the same time we are grateful for having. I'm sitting in our pet cemetery, and it is a very beautiful place to come to remember, but also to enjoy the flowers, because we've planted a great deal of flowers here and it's very beautiful. You have lots of bird life because of it, because they come for the insects, and it's a very stunning part of Feather's Tail. Of course we have our angel in the corner as well. And I just want to speak about something, and that is a very straightforward topic. Do plants feel pain? And I first came across this question after I myself went vegan, and it was presented to me not as a question but as a statement of justification and rebuttal for people who consume sentient life and consume meat and so on and so forth. And the first person who truly used this as a justification to me shocked me, because it was a yogi. And I say yogi loosely because some yogis, sadly, just because they teach yoga, they try to pin themselves as a guru, and not all are. Many do have a lot of collectedness regarding their nature and can calm people, and a lot of healing energy around them. I'm not knocking yogis by any measure. I have great respect for a great many. But it doesn't mean they have all the answers. And they shared with me the secret life of plants and said, because plants feel pain, I feel justified in eating and killing, well, having other people kill animals so I can eat them. So I meditated on this for some time, and as always, I research correctly. I don't come up with opinions, because for me, opinions are worth nothing. I see a world filled with billions of people and billions of opinions, and there's only one truth. Everybody's opinion might differ, but there's only one truth, and you can only have one singular truth, and therefore opinions, actually all opinions, my own, they are irrelevant. They don't matter if what you are pursuing is truth. They are just not of any relevance whatsoever, sadly. And the faster we learn that, the faster we can dissolve the problems of the planet, because we dissolve the attachment to the belief of who we are and the importance of our desires and wants and habits, and we can begin to heal things, because the truth is that most of the time it's our desires, wants and habits that destroy our home and create suffering. So, plants feeling pain. Well, first of all, just to clear this up, those who justify eating meat because plants feel pain are simply not educated on what they're saying. Because if it were true that plants do feel pain, why would you then eat meat and cause even more pain? Because to eat the meat has to eat more plants than you would if you were to just eat the plants. So you create the suffering of the death of a sentient being with a central nervous system and with an aspiration to live and to love and to nurture and to express. But you also, at the same time, by raising that animal, if you're truly fearful of the pain that is caused to plants, create absolute constant decimation and pain and brutality in raising the animal, because they have to graze on their grass, or they have to eat their cattle feed or their animal feed. Now then, on top of that, you need to grow your animal feed, and we all know at this point, I think most people should know, that the number one reason for the destruction of our rainforests is to grow crops to feed animals so we can then consume the meat. Number one cause of rainforest destruction. So the pain that those trees go through must also be taken into account. So you're killing all of the rainforest. 91% of, I believe the latest study shows, 91% of rainforest destruction is caused through the felling of trees for animal agriculture. You then have to take into account those physical plants that are grown in space of where that used to be to feed your meat, and then those plants are killed. So again, you create harm for those plants. Then you feed it to the animal and you kill the animal, so you create even more pain. Obviously, this whole idea of using it as a rebuttal or an excuse or some way of justifying eating meat does not work. It's ridiculous. You're saying I'm going to create the maximum amount of pain possible if you truly believe that. But don't worry, because if you are using that as an excuse, which is obviously incorrect to do so, because if you care about the plants you wouldn't do it, as I've just shown. But don't worry about it, because in the end, actually, plants don't feel pain. The Secret Life of Plants that was published in the 70s, after studies done in the 60s, has never been able to be replicated. And scientific studies only become worth anything if they can be replicated. And they've never once been able to be replicated. So then we look around at other modern studies, and there are plants shown to secrete toxins when they are being eaten by certain insects, for example. They understand the vibration and they release and secrete a toxin onto their leaves, which in turn turns away the insect or is toxic for the insect. This is a chemical reaction based on a defense mechanism, not based on pain. They know this because they played the same sound as the insect eating, creating the same vibration, which caused the plant to behave in the same way. So it's not feeling the pain of something biting it, it's the vibration, and it's a defense mechanism because plants are intelligent. So then it boils down to, is it justified to say plants feel pain, so no matter what you eat you create pain? It's not true. It's a myth, it's a fallacy. It's a terrible argument to justify something that does cause pain. If you chase a baby animal, it will run to its mother or its father. If you want to kill a life that wishes to express itself, that can love, that can nurture, that can feel fear, that can feel pain as you insert a knife into it, and you do it based on habit, based on choice, based on perhaps ignorance, then it's not okay, except perhaps within the state of ignorance, because you don't know. If you're feeding your children animals, they don't know that you're making a mistake. If you're an adult and you can't release yourself from your habits and look at the truth, then you're inflicting your problems onto your child. There is countless evidence, and enough evidence now to show that the consumption of animals makes us sick. Simply a fact. You can't survive on a purely animal diet. You will die. You can survive on a purely plant diet and thrive. Now, if plants don't feel pain, does that mean that we should just disrespect them and that we can kill them at our will? No, of course not. We require the union and the relationship between the plants and the ecosystems they create to allow ourselves to express and to live. As well as the spiritual nourishment you get from sitting in among something like a flower garden like this one. You also are taking in the oxygen. You are also not understanding the deep roots of these trees help us to grow better crops in this area. There is a whole other world that we are not perceiving around them. So of course, they are not to be discarded, and they are not to be seen as something that you can just kill as you wish, just because they don't feel physical pain like a living, breathing, sentient life does. You know, trees are highly intelligent, but it doesn't mean they hurt. What intelligence is it that eats the fruit? Is it the intelligence of the human being that picks the apple and eats it that ate the apple? Or is it the intelligence of the tree that made the apple so sweet and tasty and compatible with your digestive system and with your needs for glucose for your brain, that ate the apple. You see, there's a union there, and thus that respect and that love with nature and with plant life is something that we should all aim to honour as best we can. But I say we can express that honour to that of empathy for others. And those who don't truly touch the collective field of consciousness that connects all things around us, those are the ones who mindlessly kill and slaughter and make lies and excuses for why they do it. People make excuses. They lie. I need it for my constitution. It's not true. A human body does not need it. Thousands and thousands of years of evolution, you didn't need it. You evolved on starch. This is proven. We did not evolve on meat, as the dated science told us. The same as the dated science of doctors giving you cigarettes has passed. We are on the cusp, finally, of the dated science of doctors giving you nutritional advice that incorporates the flesh of living beings is about to pass. Plants design themselves to be tasty. They design themselves to be eaten so as seeds can be passed. They design themselves in a way by, if you leave a vegetable to get old, it will rot, go back to the soil and nourish the plant and grow another vegetable. If you leave an animal to get old, it'll arguably just become all the more wiser, have all the more experiences, have a chance to express all the more love. So no, plants do not feel pain. And as a vegan, it deeply frustrates me, the amount of persons who use that as some empty excuse, empty justification for creating suffering that they don't need to create. You don't need meat in your diet. In the West, there's no necessity in creating and supporting that industry. There's no necessity in creating the suffering and supporting the one industry that's destroying the planet faster than any other. Western ignorance is destroying the planet faster than any other. Education and knowledge will put a stop to it. Animal suffering, animal cruelty, you'll always see it on the planet if you partake in it in any which way, shape or form. If you rescue a dog and you love the dog, you might be a dog lover, but you're not an animal lover if you're still eating them. You're a speciesist. You say the dog is worth more value because it's been around me. It's fickle. Just as fickle as saying, plants feel pain, so I'm going to go and scare, in his final moments on this planet, this wonderful, perfectly capable of being a loving, nurturing being, and cut its throat and let it die slowly. Compassion is the way forward for humanity. Compassion, education, knowledge, intelligence, and service of something morally higher than self-gratification and the importance of our habits and collection of thoughts and wants, which is ultimately an illusory ego that can't be found if you look for it. The progression of humanity needs to see these things taken away in their totality. And when we do take them away, we can see the peace that we dream of having on this planet. But so long as carnism reigns supreme and people still walk around with false knowledge in their minds that plants feel pain, then the planet will always have suffering and war and animal cruelty, and it will always have environmental destruction. It's up to us as individuals to fix it. The planet doesn't owe us its own destruction for us to express ourselves, to sit in front of televisions across the world, staring at nothing, doing nothing, whilst eating something which has created pain and destroyed the planet, when we could have done the exact opposite. God bless.
It's like them not see it at all. Make we show love and life and behave as if the God in all beings matter. You know.
The yogis, they teach us a hymns of non-violence to be happy and free. For all the beings of this world, with the animals, the plants and humanity, sweet fruit in abundance and vegetation, the gifts of a Mother Earth. The Garden of Eden is ours for cultivation, our human right from birth. So tell me, why must we